The coffee cup shattered against the wall. And everyone in Jimmy's cafe froze. Everyone except the woman in the wheelchair by the window. She didn't even look up from her crossword puzzle. 3 men had turned a quiet Tuesday morning into their personal circus. The biggest one, Chad, had prison tattoos crawling up both arms like poisonous vines. His buddies flanked him, one skinny with meth-rotted teeth, the other built like a refrigerator with a bad attitude. They'd been here 20 minutes, and already 2 families had abandoned their breakfast. Bills crumpled on tables as they fled. "Please, Maria," the teenage waitress whispered from behind the counter. Her hands shook as she gripped a coffee pot like a shield. "My manager isn't here. I can't." "Can't what?" Chad leaned across the counter, close enough that she could smell the stale beer on his breath. "Can't give 3 veterans a free meal? That's real patriotic of you, sweetheart." The skinny one laughed, a sound like grinding glass. "Yeah, we served our country in county jail." They thought that was hilarious. In the corner booth, a young man in civilian clothes tensed. David Martinez had only been home on leave for 2 days. But his instincts were still sharp from Afghanistan. 3 hostiles, multiple civilians at risk. No backup. He catalogued exits, improvised weapons, angles of attack, then forced himself to stay seated. This wasn't Kandahar. He couldn't just engage, but his eyes kept drifting to the woman by the window. She was maybe late 30s, with long brown hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, strong shoulders and arms that spoke of serious gym time. But her legs ended at the knees, hidden beneath black jeans that were pinned up neatly. A Pivy Seal trident gleamed on the side of her wheelchair, catching the morning light. David knew that insignia. You didn't wear that unless you'd earned it through hell itself. Hey, and the refrigerator-sized thug had noticed her too. "Check out the GIMP." The woman turned a page in her puzzle book. 7 across, Courage Under Fire. She penciled in VALOR. "Yo, I'm talking to you." Refrigerator lumbered toward her table. His shadow fell across her puzzle. "What's with the fake metal you get that at a costume shop for the first time?" She looked up. Her eyes were light brown, almost amber in the morning sun, and utterly devoid of fear. She studied him the way a scientist might examine something unpleasant under a microscope. "It's not fake," she said quietly. Her voice had a rasp to it, like she'd screamed herself hoarse once and never quite recovered. Chad sauntered over, interested now. In his world, fear was currency, and this woman wasn't paying. "Navy SEAL, huh? What did you do? Answer phones?" "Something like that." The skinny one circled her table like a hyena. "How'd you lose the legs? Slip in the shower?" She returned to her puzzle. 12 down. Leave no one behind. MOTTO. Chad's face darkened. He wasn't used to being ignored. In prison, respect was taken, not earned, and this crippled woman was disrespecting him in front of his boys. He grabbed the arms of her wheelchair and shook it. "I'm talking to you. Wheels." Her coffee sloshed but didn't spill. She'd learned to balance things in unsteady situations. "I heard you," she said. "Then maybe you should answer when spoken to." He leaned down, his face inches from hers. "Or maybe you need someone to teach you some manners." David half rose from his booth. His hand instinctively moved to where his sidearm would be, found only his cell phone. The woman caught his movement in her peripheral vision and gave an almost imperceptible shake of her head. "Stand down." "Soldier?" He sat back, confused and frustrated. Why wasn't she defending herself? That trident meant something. Seals didn't just roll over. Unless she couldn't. Unless whatever took her legs had taken something else too. Chad was getting creative now. He plucked a sugar packet from the table and tore it open, sprinkling it over her head like snow. Oops, clumsy me. The skinny one howled with laughter. Refrigerator grabbed another packet. Stop it. Maria had found her voice, though it trembled. Please, just leave her alone. Or what? Chad spun on her. You'll call the cops. Go ahead. It'll take them 20 minutes to get here. Lot can happen in 20 minutes. He was right. Jimmy's Cafe sat on the outskirts of town, in that gray zone between city and county, where response times were measured in geological epochs. By the time anyone arrived, these three would be long gone. And the woman, David made a decision. He couldn't take three of them, not without weapons, not without risking civilian casualties, but he knew people who could, people who'd cross hell itself for one of their own. He slipped out the back door, phone already in hand. Inside. Chad had progressed from sugar packets to creamer. He poured it slowly onto the woman's puzzle book, watching the ink blur and run. Oh, did I ruin your little game? She looked at the destroyed puzzle, then back at him. Yes? Something in that single word, not anger, not fear, just simple acknowledgement, infuriated him more than any curse could have. He grabbed her coffee cup and held it over her lap. You know what? I don't think you're a real SEAL. I think you're just some wannabe playing dress-up. He tilted the cup. Hot coffee splashed onto her jeans, soaking through. Real SEALs don't end up like this. Real SEALs don't. Real SEALs, she interrupted softly. Adapt and overcome. For a moment, something flickered in her eyes, something that made Chad step back involuntarily. It was gone in an instant, locked away behind walls of discipline and pain. But he'd seen it, the predator beneath the prey. It scared him, and Chad didn't like being scared. Fear made him angry. Anger made him stupid. He upended the entire cup over her head. Coffee streamed down her face, her hair, her gray tank top. The cafe fell silent except for the drip, drip, drip onto the linoleum floor. An elderly couple in the back booth covered their mouths in horror. Maria made a small, wounded sound. The woman sat perfectly still, coffee dripping from her chin. Then, with deliberate calm, she pulled a napkin from the dispenser and wiped her eyes clear. Feel better? She asked. Chad's fist clenched. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She was supposed to cry, to beg, to give him the fear he fed on. Instead, she sat there like a statue, taking everything he threw at her and giving nothing back. Maybe you didn't hear me right, he growled. Maybe you need. I heard you. She folded the wet napkin neatly, precisely, the way she'd been taught to maintain order in chaos. I've heard it all before, from better men than you, in worse places than this. Yeah, like where? She almost smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Places where the coffee was the least of my problems. Refrigerator laughed uncertainly. She's crazy. Chad, leave the gimp alone. But Chad was past the point of walking away. His reputation was on the line now. 3 ex-cons couldn't be backed down by one crippled woman. The math didn't work. You think you're tough? He grabbed the wheels of her chair. You think that little pin makes you special? Let me show you what. The front door chimed. Everyone turned to look, expecting maybe a customer, maybe David returning. Instead, they saw something that made the blood drain from Chad's face. A man stood in the doorway, Not particularly tall, not particularly broad, but he filled the space like smoke fills a room. He wore civilian clothes, jeans, a black t-shirt, boots that had seen hard miles. His hair was regulation short, peppered with gray. His eyes swept the room with mechanical precision, cataloging threats, exits, civilians, target. Those eyes stopped on the woman in the wheelchair. "Sorry I'm late. Carla," he said. His voice was quiet, conversational, but it carried the kind of weight that made people reassess their life choices. "Traffic was a bitch." Carla finally. She had a name, actually chuckled. "No problem, Master Chief. These gentlemen were just keeping me company." Master Chief. The title hit the room like a dropped grenade. Even civilians knew what that meant. The skinny thug started edging toward the door. "That's close enough," the Master Chief said without looking at him. Skinny froze mid-step. Chad tried to salvage the situation with bravado. "Look, we don't want any trouble. No." The Master Chief stepped further into the cafe. "Because, from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been manufacturing trouble for the last half hour. Coffee's still dripping off her face, so I'm guessing that happened, 2 minutes ago?" His hand moved to his pocket. All three thugs tensed. He pulled out a phone. "Huh. 2 minutes, 17 seconds. My guys made good time." "Your guys?" Refrigerator's voice cracked. The Master Chief smiled. It was the kind of smile that made smart people reconsider their plans for the day. "Oh, you didn't think I came alone. Did you to check on one of ours?" The door chimed again, and again, and again. They came in one at a time, but the effect was like watching a pack materialize from fog. 7 more men, all cut from the same lethal cloth. They didn't swagger or posture. They didn't need to. Violence was their profession, and they wore it like comfortable shoes. They arranged themselves around the cafe with practiced ease. 1 by the door, 2 by the windows. The others spread out, casual but alert. The skinny thug found himself boxed in without anyone explicitly blocking him. "Gentlemen," the Master Chief said pleasantly, "meet Team 7. Well, most of us. Rodriguez is parking the cars." He paused. "Plural. We brought 2, just in case we needed trunk space." Chad's mouth worked soundlessly. The math had changed. 3 ex-cons against 1 disabled woman was one thing. 3 ex-cons against 8 Navy SEALs was suicide with extra steps. "Now," the Master Chief continued, pulling out a chair and sitting down across from Carla, "before we discuss what happens next, I think introductions are in order. You've already met Master Chief Carla Rivas. Raven, to her friends, retired, as you probably guessed from the chair." He gestured to the trident on her wheelchair. "That piece of metal you were laughing at. She earned that in Bud's Class 234. First woman to make it through without rolling back. Set a record on the O course that stood for 3 years. One of the SEALs by the window spoke up. 3 years, 4 months, and 6 days. I know because I'm the one who finally broke it." "By 2 seconds, Carla added dryly. 2 seconds is 2 seconds. Raven." The Master Chief wasn't finished. "She did 4 deployments with Team 7. Afghanistan twice. Iraq. One place I'm not allowed to name. 27 confirmed operations. Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor. 2 Purple Hearts." He paused, letting that sink in. The second Purple Heart. "Well, that's why she's in the chair." Chad found his voice. "Look, we didn't know." "Of course you didn't." The Master Chief's tone was almost sympathetic. "How could you? It's not like she was wearing any indicators. Oh, wait. He pointed at the trident. She was, from his position by the door. David watched in fascination. He'd called the local SEAL base, explained the situation to whoever answered. He'd expected maybe 1 or 2 guys to show up eventually. Not a full squad in under 20 minutes. Not this level of response. These men had dropped whatever they were doing and hauled ass across town because one of their own was in trouble. Not active duty. Not on a mission. A retiree in a wheelchair getting harassed by local thugs. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The Master Chief stood up. Now, you boys have a choice. You can apologize to Master Chief Rivas sincerely and walk out of here under your own power. Or, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Chad looked at his 2 companions. Skinny was practically vibrating with the need to run. Refrigerator had gone pale under his jail tattoos. They were waiting for him to make the call. And for the first time in years, Chad felt the weight of real leadership. The wrong decision here wouldn't just hurt, it might be permanent. But his pride had its own mass, its own gravity. We didn't do nothing illegal. You can't? One of the SEALs laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. Brother, you have no idea what we can't do. The Master Chief held up a hand. Jennings, easy. We're all civilized here. He turned back to Chad. You're right, of course. Legally speaking, you've committed simple assault at worst. Misdemeanor battery. Maybe some harassment charges if Master Chief Rivas wants to press them. He pulled out his phone again. Which she could do. I have the security footage from the camera over the counter. Amazing quality these days. Really picks up details like, oh, that's interesting. Is that a teardrop tattoo? Chad. That usually means something specific, doesn't it? Chad's hand involuntarily moved to his face. And your friend there, the skinny one. Those look like track marks on his arms. Fresh ones, too. Probably violating parole just by association. And the big guy, wow, that's quite a record. 2 strikes already. Am I right? California's 3-strike law is a real bear. The Master Chief put his phone away. But hey, we don't need to involve the authorities. We're all reasonable men here. He walked over to Chad, stopping just outside arm's reach. It was a precise distance, David noticed, close enough to intimidate, far enough to react. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk over to Master Chief Rivas. You're going to apologize. You're going to mean it. Then you're going to pay for everyone's meal in this establishment. Yes, everyone, and you're going to leave. You're never coming back here. If I hear you've so much as driven past this place, we're going to have a different conversation. And if we don't, Chad tried one last grasp at defiance. The Master Chief smiled again, this time. There was nothing pleasant about it at all. Then we'll step outside and discuss it. All of us, very thoroughly. The cafe held its breath. Maria still clutched her coffee pot. The elderly couple gripped each other's hands. David found himself leaning forward despite himself. This was the moment. The fulcrum on which everything balanced. 3 violent men with nothing to lose against 8 trained killers with everything to prove. The math was simple, but pride made people do complex things. Chad looked at Carla. She hadn't moved through the entire exchange. Coffee still dripped from her hair, but she sat straight-backed, meeting his gaze without flinching. Waiting. The sound of car doors slamming made everyone jump. Through the window, they could see another man getting out of one of the black SUVs. Rodriguez, presumably. He was whistling, 9 Navy SEALs, 3 street thugs, in the cold light of morning. With his buzz fading, and reality setting in. Chad finally understood what those numbers meant. But understanding and accepting were two different things. "This ain't over," he muttered. "Actually," the Master Chief said pleasantly, "it is. One way or another. This ends today. Your choice how." Part 1 ends exactly here on this knife's edge of decision, with 9 SEALs surrounding 3 bullies who thought they'd found an easy target, with Carla still dripping coffee, still silent, still waiting, with everyone in the cafe holding their breath, because everyone in that room knew whatever happened next would be carved in memory forever. The silence stretched like a wire about to snap. Chad's jaw worked, pride and survival instinct wrestling for control of his mouth. His boys watched him, waiting for their cue, fight or flight. Live or die on this hill of stupid machismo. Then Rodriguez walked through the door, still whistling. He took in the scene with one sweep of his dark eyes and grinned. "Oh, good. I didn't miss the fun part." That grin broke something in Chad. It wasn't cruel or threatening. It was genuinely amused. Like Rodriguez had walked in on children playing a game they didn't understand. Which, in a way, he had. "All right," Chad said, the words scraping out of his throat like broken glass. "All right, fine." He took a step toward Carla. The SEALs shifted subtly, a pact adjusting to movement. Chad stopped, raised his hands. I'm gonna apologize, okay?" "That's a good start," the Master Chief said. Chad walked to Carla's table like a man approaching the gallows. Up close, with coffee still dripping from her hair. She looked smaller than before, vulnerable even. But her eyes were steady as bedrock. He swallowed, started again. "I'm sorry for the coffee and the other stuff." Carla studied him for a long moment. "No, you're not," she said quietly. "You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there are consequences, but you're not sorry for what you did." Chad's face flushed. "Look, I know what you said." She pulled another napkin from the dispenser, wiped more coffee from her face. "I've heard plenty of apologies. You learn to tell the real ones from the fake ones." "Then what do you want from me?" She tilted her head, considering. "I want you to understand something. Sit down." "What?" "Sit." It wasn't a request. Chad looked back at the Master Chief, who nodded. Reluctantly, he pulled out a chair and sat across from her. This close, he could see the scars, not just on her face, those were minimal, but on her arms, precise surgical scars, shrapnel patterns, a history written in damaged tissue. "5 years ago," Carla began, her voice conversational, "my team was in a place I can't name, doing things I can't discuss. Standard operation. Extract a high-value target from a hostile compound. We'd done it dozens of times." She paused, looking past him at something only she could see. "Everything went smooth until exfil. We were moving through the compound, target secured, when we hit a room we hadn't cleared properly. My mistake. I was point. One of the SEALs, the one who'd broken her O-course record, made a sound of protest. Raven. My mistake. Thompson." She didn't look away from Chad. "I entered first. Saw movement. Should have been a hostile. But it was a kid. Maybe 12. Scared out of his mind. I hesitated." She spread her hands on the table. Chad noticed her fingers were steady. No tremor. No shake. "That hesitation cost us. Secondary fighter popped out from cover. Threw a grenade. Russian model. RGD-5. You know what those do?" Chad shook his head mutely. "They kill everyone in the room," She said it matter-of-factly. 4-meter lethal radius in an enclosed space. I had 6 teammates behind me in the fatal zone, plus the target, plus the kid. The cafe had gone cemetery quiet. Even the coffee maker seemed to pause its burbling out of respect. Time slows down in moments like that, Carla continued. You can see everything. Calculate angles, distance, blast patterns. I knew the math. If that grenade detonated where it landed, we'd lose at least 4 guys, maybe all of them. Operation failure. Letters home to families. Flags on coffins. She finally looked away from the past and met Chad's eyes again. So I didn't let it detonate there. Rodriguez spoke from the doorway, his voice rough. She yelled grenade and dove on it. No hesitation. Just threw herself on top and tucked it under her body. Rodriguez? Carla's voice held gentle warning. No, ma'am. He needs to hear this. Rodriguez stepped forward. I was number 3 in the stack. I watched her do it. Watched her curl around that grenade like she was protecting a baby. She knew what it would do. We all knew. And she did it anyway. Chad's mouth had gone dry. But you survived? Carla almost smiled. Body armor helps. A little. Absorbed some of the shrapnel. But the overpressure. See, the human body isn't designed to contain an explosion. Things break. Things tear. Things get, and she gestured at her legs. Rearranged? 16 surgeries, Thompson added quietly. Died twice on the table, brought her back both times. Doctors said she'd never be conscious again. She woke up asking about the team. Everyone else walked out, Carla said simply. That's what mattered. Chad stared at her. This woman he'd poured coffee on for fun. Why would you? Because that's what we do. Her voice hardened slightly. That's what the trident means. Every SEAL in this room would have done the same. We don't leave people behind. Ever. Even when it costs you your legs. Especially then. She leaned back in her wheelchair. You think this chair makes me weak? You think these, she patted her pinned-up jeans, make me less than I was? I've got 6 teammates who go home to their families every night because I made a choice. I'd make it again right now. The Master Chief cleared his throat. Show him, Raven. Chief. Show him. Carla sighed. Then, with practiced movements, she unzipped the sides of her jeans. Underneath were state-of-the-art prosthetic legs, carbon fiber and titanium, usually hidden by the fabric. She stood up. The entire cafe gasped. She was shorter than before, the prosthetics not quite matching her original height. But she stood steady, balanced, strong. I can walk, she said to Chad's stunned face. Run, with the right setup. Even did a marathon last year. Came in dead last, but I finished. She sat back down, zipping the pants back up. I use the chair because it's easier on the stumps for daily wear. And because she earned the right to take it easy. The Master Chief finished. Though she never does. Coaches swim therapy for wounded warriors 3 days a week. Competitive hand cycling on weekends. Bullseye pistol shooting, she's ranked nationally. Still can't beat you, though, Carla grumbled. Nobody's perfect. Chad hadn't moved. His brain was trying to process the last 5 minutes, to reconcile the broken woman he'd tormented with the warrior sitting before him. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Now that, Carla said, sounded real. I was in the system, Chad said suddenly, the words tumbling out. Foster care, then juvie, then real prison. Nobody gave a shit. I learned to take what I wanted because nobody was going to give me nothing. I'm sorry that happened to you, Carla said, and meant it. But it doesn't excuse what you do to others. No, it doesn't. Chad stood up shakily. I'll pay. For everyone. And we'll go. We won't come back. Chad? Refrigerator started. Shut up, Marcus. We're done. Chad pulled out his wallet, hands trembling. What do I owe? Maria finally found her voice. $347 for everyone. Chad counted out 400s. Keep the change for the trouble. As the three thugs headed for the door, Carla called out, Chad! He turned. The system failed you. That's not your fault, but what you do now, that's all you. She held his gaze. You can keep being what they made you, or you can be something better. Your choice. Chad nodded once, sharply, and left. His boys followed, Skinny casting nervous glances at the seals, Marcus walking like a man in a dream. The door closed behind them with a gentle chime. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the elderly woman in the back booth started clapping. Slow at first, then faster. Her husband joined. Then Maria. Then David stepped out from his corner, clapping hard, tears streaming down his face. Soon, the entire cafe was applauding. Not the polite golf clap of social obligation, but the thunder of genuine emotion. Respect, awe, gratitude. Carla ducked her head, embarrassed. Oh, come on, stop it. No, ma'am, David said, walking over. Private First Class David Martinez, 82nd Airborne, currently on leave. He snapped to attention and rendered a perfect salute. It's an honor, Master Chief. Carla returned the salute from her chair. At ease, soldier, and thank you for calling in the cavalry. How did you know? She smiled. Spotted you the second I came in. You've got that fresh from the sandbox look. Kept checking exits, cataloging threats. Your hand keeps moving to where your weapon should be. She tapped her temple. Once a warrior, always a warrior. Even us broken ones. You're not broken, David said fiercely. Not even close. The Master Chief chuckled. Careful, son. Keep talking like that, and we'll recruit you for the dark side. You ever think about buds? Aye. What really? Why not? We could use more men who know when to call for backup instead of playing hero. He handed David a card. Think about it. Team guys take care of their own. Jimmy, the cafe owner, emerged from the kitchen where he'd been hiding. He was a Vietnam vet himself, Marine Corps, and he moved with the careful dignity of old wounds. Carla, your money's no good here. Not today, not ever. Jimmy, no arguments. You want to argue. Take it up with him. He jerked his thumb at the Master Chief. He's scarier than you are. Debatable, Rodriguez muttered. The SEALs had relaxed now. The mission mindset fading into something warmer. They gravitated toward Carla's table like planets around a sun. Someone dragged over chairs. Someone else commandeered the coffee pot. So, Thompson said, settling in beside her. You been holding court here without us? It's Tuesday, Carla said. I always come here on Tuesday. Yeah, but you didn't mention the entertainment. Rodriguez poured coffee for everyone. We could have sold tickets. You're all idiots, Carla said fondly. You're idiots, the Master Chief corrected. You're stuck with us. Maria approached hesitantly with a towel. Would you like help with? She gestured at Carla's coffee-soaked hair. That's kind of you. Thank you. as the young waitress carefully toweled Carla's hair dry. The seals fell into the easy rhythm of old friends. They told stories, each more outrageous than the last. They argued about football. They made fun of Rodriguez's parking skills. They included David, like he'd always been there, and Maria too, when she lingered to listen. It was family, pure and simple, the kind forged in fire and tempered by loss. Remember that time in Ramadi? Someone started. Which time we were there every other Tuesday. The time with the goat. Oh God, not the goat story. And they were off. Voices overlapping, laughter filling the space where violence had been. Carla sat in the center of it all, quiet but present, adding the occasional devastating one-liner that sent them into fresh howls. Jimmy brought out fresh pastries on the house. The elderly couple moved closer to hear better. Other customers trickled in, sensed the atmosphere, and stayed. The little cafe transformed from a place of fear to one of joy. All because 9 warriors decided one of their own needed them. As morning became afternoon, David's phone buzzed. His leave was ending soon. He had a plane to catch, a unit to rejoin, a war to fight. But he found himself reluctant to leave this bubble of brotherhood. "Hey," Carla said, noticing his conflict. "Where are you stationed?" "FOB Chapman, Coast Province." She nodded thoughtfully. "Know a guy there. Master Sergeant Williams. Tell him Raven says hi. He'll take care of you." "You know someone everywhere?" Thompson laughed. "Networking. It's what cripples do instead of PT. Bullshit. You did more pull-ups than me last week. Because you're getting soft." The banter continued, but David saw the truth beneath it. This woman who'd sacrificed her legs for her team was still taking care of people. Still watching out for young soldiers far from home. Still being a leader. Just in different ways. "I should go," he said reluctantly. "Here." Carla pulled a coin from her pocket. A challenge coin. SEAL Team 7. "Carry this. Remember, you're not alone out there. None of us are." David took the coin with reverent hands. "I'll bring it back to you." "You'd better." He left then, quickly, before the emotion overwhelmed him, but not before he heard the Master Chief say quietly, "Good kid. He'll do fine." "They all do," Carla replied. "Until they don't. Then we catch them." The sun was high now, flooding the cafe with light. The coffee was fresh. The stories were flowing, and Carla was surrounded by her boys. Her legs were gone, but everything that mattered remained. "So," Rodriguez said eventually, "same time next week." "It's my Tuesday spot," Carla said. "But you all have jobs." "Funny thing about that," the Master Chief said. "Training got cancelled. Something about a scheduling conflict. All your training, all 8 of you." "9, Rodriguez corrected. "Morrison's in the car. Someone had to stay on Overwatch." "You brought Overwatch to a coffee shop. You're here," he said simply. "Where else would we be?" And that was it. Really. The whole thing in a nutshell. Where else would they be? Carla looked around the table at these men who'd dropped everything to race across town because someone was messing with their sister. Who'd turned a morning of ugliness into something beautiful. Who carried her when she couldn't carry herself. "You know I don't need protecting," she said. "Sure." The Master Chief agreed easily. "Just like you didn't need to jump on that grenade. But you did, and we're here. That's how it works." "Leave no one behind," Thompson murmured. "Leave no one behind." They echoed. A quiet promise that stretched back through decades of service. Through rice paddies and deserts and mountains and places with no names. through every generation that learned the hardest truth that love is measured not in words, but in presence. Outside, 3 broken men drove away, perhaps a little less broken than before. Inside, a broken woman sat surrounded by wholeness, teaching everyone who watched that sometimes the strongest people are those who've been shattered and chose to keep standing anyway. The trident on her wheelchair caught the light again, throwing small rainbows on the wall, not a symbol of what was lost, but of what endured, what always endures when warriors remember their own. "More coffee?" Maria asked, pot in hand. "Always," Carla said. "The day I turn down coffee is the day they put me in the ground." "Which will be never," Rodriguez said firmly. "Because death would take one look at you and apologize for the misunderstanding." "Damn right," they laughed, and the sound filled the small cafe like a benediction, like grace, like home, and in that moment, in that place with those people. Carla's wheelchair wasn't a prison, it was a throne, and every seal in that room would die before they let anyone forget it. Because that's what family does. That's what the trident means. That's what love looks like when it puts on boots and answers the call. Leave no one behind. Not ever. Not even especially when they tell you they're fine on their own. The coffee was hot. The stories were good. And Tuesday morning at Jimmy's Cafe had become something sacred. Something worth protecting. Something worth celebrating. And somewhere in Afghanistan, a young private would touch a challenge coin in his pocket and remember that he wasn't alone, that none of them were, that there was always a place at the table, always a hand to pull you up, always a team that would cross hell itself to bring you home. Always. 3 months later. Maria was wiping down tables at Jimmy's Cafe when the door chimed. She looked up, then froze. Chad stood in the doorway, but he looked different. His hair was cut short, military style. He wore clean clothes, a simple button-down and jeans. The swagger was gone, replaced by something quieter. "Is she here?" he asked. Maria nodded toward the window table. "Tuesday morning. Same spot. Same time." Chad approached slowly. Carla looked up from her new puzzle book, showing no surprise. "Chad? Master Chief?" He cleared his throat. "I wanted to. Can I sit?" She gestured to the empty chair. He sat carefully, like the furniture might break under the weight of what he carried. "I got a job," he said without preamble. "Construction. Real work. Honest work. Good for you. And I'm in NA. 90 days clean. Marcus, too." He pulled something from his pocket, a bronze medallion. 3 months sobriety. "It's not much, but it's everything," Carla said firmly. "First 90 days are the hardest." "How would you know?" She smiled sadly. "You think you're the only one who's fought demons after my surgeries. They had me on enough opioids to drop a horse. Took me a year to get clean. Another year to stay that way." Chad stared at her. This woman kept revealing depths he couldn't fathom. "I sponsor someone now," she continued. "Tuesday evenings, part of giving back." "Is that why you were so calm that day? Because you've seen worse." "No." She set down her pencil. "I was calm because I learned a long time ago that you can't fight everyone else's battles. Sometimes people need to hit bottom before they can climb up. I was just furniture in your story, background noise." "You were never background noise." Chad's voice was fierce. "What you said about choosing to be better, that stuck. It's been stuck in my head every day since." The door chimed again. The Master Chief walked in, saw Chad, and his hand moved subtly to his hip. "It's okay, Senior," Carla said. "We're just talking." The Master Chief relaxed fractionally, but took a seat at the next table, close enough to intervene, far enough to give them space. "I wanted to ask," Chad said hesitantly, if you might have room for one more in your program, Tuesday evenings." Carla studied him for a long moment. "Recovery isn't a joke, Chad. It's work, hard work, every single day." "I know. Do you? Because I don't sponsor people who aren't serious. I don't have time for games." "No games." He met her eyes. "I've got too much to make up for. Too many people I hurt. I can't fix all of it. But I can try to be better. You said that was my choice. I'm trying to choose right." She returned to her puzzle. 15 across second chances, REDEMPTION. The Master Chief smiled and signaled Maria for coffee. Outside, life moved on. But inside Jimmy's cafe, small miracles happened every Tuesday. One conversation, one choice, one moment of grace at a time. Carla finished her puzzle and reached for the next one. Her legs were gone, but her purpose remained. Her battlefield had changed, but the mission continued. Leave no one behind. Not in combat, not in recovery, not in life. Never.